The game... Yes, that's what I mean. Like, holding jump is a big part of the movement. Yeah, it reduces your gravity in every situation. So it makes you jump higher, but also makes you fall slower. And there's a lot of really crazy ways you can use that over the course of the run. And it's really important for a lot of core sections, like these balloons, for example. You need to hold jump when you bounce on them. Otherwise, you don't get the height that you would otherwise need. Now, I didn't hold jump there, or at least not for very long. If I held it for a fraction of a second. Because I don't want to get the full height from there. But there are actually... I've seen threads of people having problems with the game because they're not getting height out of balloons, and it's making it too difficult to complete certain levels. So I don't think that's necessarily a failure of the game, but I do think that it's not taught to players well enough. But then, once you understand that information, it's not just your hands sort of intuitively picking it up. You have to mentally know how the mechanic works. You can start doing crazy things with it. So I'm holding jump right now over a speed ramp, and I'm getting massive airtime because my gravity's reduced, and I'm going way further as a result. Now, I'm also doing that more slowly, but the increased distance that I gain makes up for falling more slowly there. And it lets me do a crazy skip like that. And there are heaps of levels where similar kinds of mechanic exist. And if you understand that information, you can make use of it. You know, it counts. That was good. You wouldn't normally get the corner bounce there with the method that I use, but I spaced it a little bit too far. Like I think I was holding jump just a fraction too long and ended up going further than I intended. Oh, alright, a little bit awkward. Gonna bleed a little bit of time, that's fine. But even just like the basic movement in this game, what you described as sluggish, I think it just has a higher skill floor than a standard 3D platformer would. You're not moving like a standard 3D platformer character. Sami's locked into rolling, right? It'd be different if Sami could walk around and change his movement on a whim. But it's almost like it's a Marvel-inspired game, right? Marvel platformers. I think, yeah, the momentum is really hard to control because your momentum is kind of locked in and you can't really swap it on the fly very easily. That's what you have to use grapples and grapple jumps for. And there's a lot of skill involved in making use of those to manipulate your movement. Or things like using ground pounds, especially on sloped surfaces. So the base movement is really hard to wrap your head around. And I think if you fall off the game within the first hour or two of playing it, that's 100% understandable. I think if you push through, it really clicks at a certain point. So the game didn't really click with me until pretty deep into World 2. And then the game like really clicked. I'm not sure if everyone has similar experiences to that. I'm not gonna lie, I know there's a couple people on my friends list who have logged half an hour and then they never touched a game. I have told this story a couple times before, but Josh Man, when he started doing variety streaming, hit me up because he knew I was speedrunning this game. He's like, yo, is this game any good? I was like, yeah man, it's sick, it's one of my favourite games of all time. He's like, alright, sick, I'm gonna pick it up. And I think he has legitimately like 10 minutes logged. And he's owned it for like a year now. Like, this man played through the tutorial, the first couple levels, went, oh yeah, nah, this is not for me, and then never played it again. And I understand that. I really do. I think that this game is... It offers a very specific experience that I think will deeply connect with certain types of people, but I think that its general design equally could put people off from playing it. Which is a shame. Don't get me wrong, but I can understand that for all the reasons that I've stated and more. I really need him to stop you. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, we're doing this properly now. Double hit. There we go. So that fight was as good as it possibly could have been with the RNG that I got. We lost 10 seconds because in my PB, I legitimately hit a world record time for that stage. The time I got in the PB is 38 seconds on a 1:15 fight, which is faster than anyone else has ever done it. The previous record is a 39-second time, which is also one of my times. And I only hit a 39 twice before, too. Oh, nice. Here we go. Hitting a first try 2-2 is really good. Everything went perfect there. It really is, right? Weird. One minor thing that I need to remember for this stage is that small jump that I do after the pipe. It's not necessary, but I'm gonna do that jump every single time now because that little gap that you can see in between the steel beam and the platform that you exit out of can ruin you. It just like halts your movement and makes it super weird. So I'm probably bleeding a little bit of time sometimes, but I'm also stopping it from making it really awkward. This is what I mean, like I know it's almost impossible to match my World 1 split. Even though we played everything as well as we could have done, I was still exiting it with 10 seconds lost. But I also know that we have a lot of time saves over the course of the whole run, so I need to ignore World 1 as much as I can at the moment. Now, I do think that the full campaign offers a lot of really unique challenges, but I do think that the pacing is a little bit weird, and the most common criticism I have seen for this game is that, oh god, World 3 ramps up the difficulty so much that a lot of people don't complete it. They hit a certain point in World 3 and then they tap out and they don't get back into the game after that point. I actually think that World 3 is more difficult than World 4 in a lot of ways. But Worlds 1 and 2, I think, are perfectly paced. I think it's a perfect ramp up in terms of challenge and the type of obstacles that you face. with one exception. I think that World 3 is potentially so difficult because over the course of Worlds 1 and 2, other than in the secret levels, which people are not guaranteed to find the secret exits and play those levels, it is very rarely asked of the player to do multiple grapple jumps in a row. So there was one example right there in this level where you have to do it. But those are spaced in a way where you're doing it at the peak of the jump. You're not like traveling over a huge gap and then grappling another platform. I think one of the lessons that the game potentially could have taught earlier on is to master that grapple jump. It's not really expected of the player until a certain point in the game. Outside of the secret levels, that is. This is bad. I gotta keep going. I can't get that boost panel. Alright, we're gonna bleed a little bit of time here. Oh, okay. Yeah, about the same as the PB then, I guess. That's a tough one. Unfortunately, if you just miss the corner boost of the... Well, not the corner, but you know what I mean. The ledge boost, whatever it is. Ledge bounce. Edge bounce. Whatever term you want to use. You just end up losing time, and it's not really in your control. But I don't know, what this game gets right, it does so well. I think it is an outstanding speedrun game in particular. And I've kind of said it, I've said it many times before actually. That sucks, I just grappled too soon. That was a big speed save, a time save opportunity there. This level is such a problem. I had done it right, Woe. That shouldn't have been a death there. I just got a little bit too antsy on the grapple and hit it too soon. I think the height was perfect. But as I was saying, the thing that I've consistently said about this game, the reason that I really got into it was the IL leaderboards, I don't think, showed the game off in a fantastic light. Some levels legitimately did not have runs on the current patch, and there were already efforts made to separate that. From old patches to new patch, whatever it was. And I think, for that reason, people who are checking out the speedrun leaderboards, they're not super impressed by it, and it doesn't really show the game off in the best light to have something like that. And the reason I wanted to... Oh god, am I dead? I'm at very least losing time here because of that. IL leaderboards, individual levels, yeah. This is such a bad run. Yikes. Okay, whatever. Bleeding a little bit of time. So the reason I started trying to push my individual level records at the start, because I didn't do any percent until maybe 9 months into me learning IL strategies. The reason I did it was because I wanted to show more of what the game has to offer. I was talking and forgot that I'm supposed to wait a cycle, so we did get a time save there, but it was a risky one. That doesn't look as risky as it potentially was, but... trying to speed up your cycle a little bit on that level can be really, really risky. Shoot on the ground pound. Okay, cool. I wanted to show off the game as much as I possibly could. I think this game is really quite beautiful when it is played at the highest level. I also think it's an extremely enjoyable speedrun to not only play, but I think that it offers a lot in terms of a spectator experience as well. I think there's enough really interesting things in here that I think just makes it a perfect speedrun experience, and I think it's such a shame that it hasn't connected with enough people, or at least it hasn't found that audience. I don't know, I would hope that should Vinox, the developer of the game, Sunsai Studios or Sunsai Games, I probably should know that. I would hope that if they want to revisit Sami in the future, that more eyes get on the game and we pick up a bit more of a scene. Having another active runner in the community right now, because we've had other active speedrunners, but not really anyone pushing 80% alongside me. So, Go to Cage. Been in the community for only really a couple months, I want to say. But having them pushing the game alongside me has been such an enjoyable experience, and I think really rewarding for both of us, because this category has already seen such a massive improvement from just having one extra perspective, one extra person labbing out things and offering their own skills to the game. So that's my one hope, is that we either can start, auto split doesn't work. We can either start building up this community a bit more. I'm trying to do my part as much as I can. I have a marathon event coming up later this month, at an event in Australia, where I'm going to be showing off the game again. I'm not sure what happened there. I had a very strange bounce, so we're going for backup straight away. Oh, Christ. What's wrong with my grapple? Oh. I was locked out of grappling there. I think that something weird happened. I'm really far behind. Oh, jeez. It's why you go for the ground pound there, honestly. I thought the spring was coming back, but it was still, like, really far off. That's a shame. This is a big time save possibility on this stage, and I'm still probably losing a good, 13 seconds or something there. I'm not sure how much it actually was. Anyways, loop back to your question, Osu. Yeah, there are other games that I'd be interested in speedrunning. I started learning 2001 The Hobbit, action-adventure Sierra game on the GameCube that I grew up with. But the process of learning that, I realized it would be a really miserable experience to try and push myself to where I'd want to end up on that game. So I kind of dropped off learning that one partway through. I can do like 75% of the run, but yeah, not anywhere near consistently, and some of the tricks are just too precise for me to want to really dig into at the moment. There's another one that I have been looking into that I think I would really enjoy, and I practice the mechanical side of it rather than the routing. So I haven't learnt the routing for it, but I learnt a lot of the mechanical tricks for it, and thought it was really sick, is another N64 style platformer called Cavern of Dreams. And I think the speedrun for that is really interesting. I don't think the structure of the game is entirely interesting to me though, so I've kind of been putting off maybe learning it for the full run. I think I have too many goals in Sami at the moment to dip my toes into it and see if the route would make it more interesting to play for me. Oh, okay. We're going to lose about 6 seconds here. We're just a cycle behind, unfortunately. I can potentially try and save that time later on. Oh god. And go for something cheeky at the end, but I think I'm probably just going to eat the time loss instead. If I try and push it and die, it's too costly at this point. I actually did learn and submit a speedrun for another one from last year, Pseudo Regalia, another N64 style 3D platformer. Wrong way. I think that's a incredibly interesting game in terms of its design. The core movement is so interesting and so much fun to play with. But I think mechanically it's a little bit too strict in some ways. Which feels weird to say, but I think that if some of the movement tech was... Shit, I'm not sure how that happened. If some of the movement tech in that game was a little bit easier, I'm not talking about, you know, level specific or area specific tech. I'm talking just like general movement. If some of it was just a little bit more forgiving, oh, I'm having a poor run of this one. Just gonna focus up and fix up my routing. I should be fine from here. Bugger. Okay. Hopefully that's the last of the problems here. This is a really difficult stage in terms of the run. It's probably one of the hardest to consistently get. Yeah, if some of the general movement tech in that game was a little bit easier, I think it would be a much more accessible speedrun to learn. Didn't catch anything you said about the other games. You're like, just, oh my god, are you serious? That's so funny. Yeah, anyways. I know that there has been... Okay, I'm gonna have to go for the backup strat here. Boy. Now that backup strat is the main strat for IL, so we're potentially going to save some time here. I don't normally go for it because it feels quite risky. Just like the positioning is quite difficult. Okay. I've completely lost my train of thought here, unfortunately. Had to focus up for this one. Oh my god, we're breaking even. Like, exactly. That's quite funny. In any percent, it's not considered a different category. So in ILs, you can select your difficulty. And if you were so inclined, you could go through and sort the IL times by what difficulty they were played on, but no one really considers it like that. And that's something that my perspective changed on over the course of running the game for myself. So initially, I was of the opinion that, oh, well, if you're speedrunning a level, part of the challenge should be playing it on advanced difficulty without a checkpoint and without, you know, with routing coins and collecting those. And I think my perspective on that changed over the course of 6 months pretty slowly. And I think that having relaxed mode as the default option on any percent and on a number of the ILs has made the speedrun more interesting overall. There are some stages that I think having a checkpoint makes the speedrun entirely different from what an advanced mode speedrun would look like as well, and for the better. I think it's more interesting for that reason. So an example of that is 3-8, which we saw earlier in this run. That's an auto-scroller level, and there is a huge skip that you can do to skip the first half of the auto-scroller section. It saves about 30 seconds on what is about a minute and a half of the level. So, not half the level you're skipping, but, you know, a good portion. But it is only available in regular and relaxed mode. Well, relaxed and normal. In advanced mode, even if you pull off the skip, you have to wait for the platform to catch up to you because you don't have a checkpoint to reset the platform's position. So if we were speedrunning the game on advanced mode, that level would be 2 minutes of waiting instead of having some of the, you know, the coolest platforming you can do in the game. I think it's a really interesting and difficult sequence of jumps and grapples, and test your timing in a way that a lot of other levels don't. And I think that the run would be worse off for it. So I think having relaxed and normal modes be the default for a lot of that is actually more interesting than advanced. What's the lore of the game? Why doesn't the owl just take you all the way? Why did this come up recently with Woe? That's Aluba, I think his name is. He is helping Sami on his adventure and taking him to all these locations. I think that the reason that we are visiting all these levels is because Aluba gets really tired carrying Sami all the way and, you know, drops him off and has these little naps. So Sami has to make his way through the levels to wake him up. That's my interpretation of it. I could be completely wrong because there's some cultural things that fly past my head. The developer, I think... I could be wrong about this. It might be a Spanish background, but they live in Japan. I'm not sure if it's Spanish. I think that might be wrong. But they're based in Osaka, and there's a few Japanese influences in here, which I think a lot of World 4 actually shows off, including the one that we just had. But, you know, we're doing, like, classic 3D platformer story where we're, you know, saving the princess from the castle kind of thing. So we're trying to save Sami's girlfriend Vera from Prince Albert VII. That could be right. It could be the 7th. I don't know. I have no understanding of the lore behind the previous princes, or... You know, maybe Prince Albert is the 7th in a long line of corrupt leaders. Maybe the kingdom, wherever we are, was not hostile until Prince Albert the 7th came into power. I don't make this. Oi. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's definitely more lore there than I've probably, you know, taken in. It's been a long time since I watched all the cutscenes as well, so I'm sure there's like some key details that I'm missing. Alright, time for the suicide jump. Alright, we got there. And there's no reason to play fast, we'll just cruise on through. What on earth happened to those objects? What, I'm not sure what you mean there. Was there a weird camera thing that I didn't pick up on? One thing to remember is that we are breaking the game sometimes, so weird things do happen. And this is a one-man project, right? So forgive some things if they pop up. Maybe better off just taking the teleporter there. My cycle was a little bit strange. I was going pretty fast, to be honest, but not quite fast enough that I felt comfortable in taking the faster platform sequence. That's a very good time for that stage, though. Oh, I've kind of scuffed this. Okay. At least I got up in time to hit that. I think that balances out my sequence at the end here. I think I can still make this, so I'm actually not losing time compared to the PB time. And in fact, I'm even saving a little bit there. Oh, we got a clip. Okay, can watch that later. Oh, yes. That's an auto camera stage. Yeah, so I'm grappling a wall that the camera can't actually see. Ah, bugger. That was really close. Alright, second time's the charm. I really wanted that to be first try. Saving 10 seconds. Cool. What was the possible time save there? About 20? Alright, we just have some serious platforming to do. Yeah, world record run. Took like 2 or 3 attempts to make it happen. Maybe even 4. I just had some really bad luck on hitting it. 411 is normally a very consistent stage for me as well. I think the lineup that I found works really well for me. I know everyone has their own little way of doing it. The way that Quill does it is a different lineup to me. Yoda Cage has found a really fancy double ground pound setup that I think is pretty consistent for him now. I think there's a lot more variance in that strat than the one I use, but that just means it requires a lot more practice. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I've said the same thing about the 1-6 setup that we use, but with practice, it's actually more consistent now. So I suspect that Yoda Cage's 411 setup is similar in that way too. Yeah, really was hoping to get it first try in this attempt because we're on very good pace right now. Alright. 4-14 is kind of like the final hurdle for me. We can play the boss fight consistently. The last level is not much of a platforming challenge. This, however, yeah, one of the hardest levels on the run in terms of routing. If you're feeling anxious watching this, then just imagine how I'm feeling. Alright, we just have to wait for the dragon to go past. Alright, that's big. We got to the checkpoint. So dying in that first section is incredibly costly, because I don't pick up the checkpoint with the routing that I use. So I would actually have to do 2/3 of the level from scratch if I were to die again there. Ooh, okay. $37 ahead. I know that there's time to save in the boss fight due to RNG. $41, even more time. So possible time save of 15 seconds here. We very well could have the first 38-minute time on our hands right now. Just need to get past this one final challenge. Nice. That's an immediate boost to this fight. Alright, missiles is fun. Okay, so for this final one, we're going to move over here. Missiles again is good. Oh, he's not doing laser. This is good RNG. This is difficult with that platform gone. Okay. Okay. I thought I was dead. Oh my god. This is it. Oh, just missed it by that much. RNG was pretty kind up until the end. There we go, what a run. I'm so much happier with that. So, where was our time losses? 3-12, I just died off the bat. That was a really minor one. Ah, 2-12. That's still a major death. That's still, what, a full 20 seconds? I mean, there was some, like, very minor in 215. And then, obviously, the boss fight, 115, can be max 10 seconds faster. 3-7 still has more time to save. That was not a first try, 3-7. Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about that. That is the substantial improvement that I was looking for. Such a shame that it's not a 38-minute. I think that would have been a really great way to end the run, but I can say I'm genuinely pretty happy with that. 4-11, if I had to hit that first try, that would have been it. The speed was right. I think I did the jump a little bit wrong and didn't quite time it correctly. But I'm feeling good about this. I can tell that I'm playing better, and the new strats are coming in pretty clutch. Okay. Let's let these credits roll, and maybe we can call it a day here, I think. Thank you for tuning in. I will catch you all next time. Yeah, I'm not sure. Where do we go from here, right? The run is getting pretty close to being maximized in terms of its time.